you when I'm rich.
A 9-year-old black girl stood at a chain-link fence with half a sandwich in her hand, watching a boy dig through trash behind their elementary school. She didn't know his name, didn't know he'd been living in his mother's car for 3 months, didn't know that sharing her lunch that day would set off a chain of events that would span 22 years. What she definitely didn't know was that the promise they made as children would one day test everything she believed about love, money, and trust. This is the story of a sandwich, a promise, and the day she had to choose between believing in fairy tales or protecting everything she'd built. Welcome back, my besties. You know how we roll here. You know how we do it here. You won't see this twist coming, I promise you. Quickly hit the subscribe button right now and grab your popcorn because you have a lot of lessons to take home from this masterpiece, especially if you are a woman. It's a promise. 9-year-old Amara Chen was the only black girl in Miss Patterson's 3rd grade class at Lincoln Elementary on Chicago's South Side. Her mother worked 2 jobs, nursing during the day, cleaning offices at night. Money was tight, but there was always food. She noticed Marcus Webb in September. Skinny white kid, maybe 10 years old, different grade. He'd show up at the fence during lunch, watching kids eat, never playing, just watching. Amara's mother had taught her to notice hunger. Baby, you see somebody who needs food, you share, always. One Tuesday in October, Amara walked to the fence with her peanut butter sandwich. You hungry? Marcus jumped, looked at her like she was a trap. I'm not gonna hurt you. You want half? Marcus nodded slowly. She broke the sandwich, passed half through the fence, watched him devour it in 4 bites. I'm Amara. Marcus. Why don't you eat lunch? Don't have money for it. Where's your mom? In the car, she's sleeping. She works nights. Amara understood immediately. They were living in their car. I'll bring you lunch tomorrow, same time. Why? Because you're hungry. The next day, Amara brought 2 sandwiches. The day after, she brought 3. One for Marcus's little sister Emma, who was 7 and even skinnier. This went on for 3 months. Every school day, Amara brought extra food. Sometimes it was leftovers from dinner. Sometimes it was fruit her mother got from the food bank. Always, she shared. Marcus never asked why, never questioned it, just accepted the kindness like someone who'd learned not to expect it from the world. In January, on the coldest day of the year, Marcus showed up at the fence with something in his hand. I made you something, he said quietly. It was a bracelet, woven from red thread he'd pulled from an old shirt. Clumsy, uneven, but made with obvious care. It's a promise bracelet. When I grow up and get rich, I'm gonna marry you. Because you're the only person who's ever been nice to me without wanting something back. Amara looked at this skinny white boy with hopeful eyes and dirty clothes, and she smiled. Okay, but you gotta promise to work hard. Rich people work hard. I promise. And you gotta promise to be good. Rich and good. Not rich and mean. I promise. She put on the bracelet. It was too big, sliding down her wrist. I'm gonna keep this forever. And when you come find me when we're grown up, I'll still be wearing it. That's how you'll know it's me. How will I find you? You'll figure it out. Smart people always do. 2 weeks later, Marcus and his family disappeared. Just gone. The car they'd been living in vanished from the Walmart parking lot where it had been parked for months. Amara kept bringing lunch to the fence for a week, hoping he'd come back. He never did. But she kept the bracelet, wore it every single day. Even when the red thread faded to pink. Even when kids at school asked why she wore something so shabby. It's a promise, she'd say, and I keep my promises. Amara's mother, Linda Chen, was Nigerian Chinese, born in Lagos to a Nigerian mother and Chinese father who'd moved to Chicago when Amara was 3. She raised Amara with 2 rules: work twice as hard to get half as far, and never, ever wait for someone to save you. Amara took it to heart. She graduated top of her class from high school, got a full scholarship to Northwestern University in nearby Evanston, Illinois, studying computer science. This was 1996. The internet was exploding. Amara saw the future. While her classmates partied, Amara coded, built websites for small businesses, charged $50, then $100, then $500. By sophomore year, she was making more than her mother. By senior year, she'd built her first app, a platform connecting freelance coders with companies that needed quick tech solutions. She called it Bridgework. In 2000, at age 22, she sold Bridgework for $3.2 million. Her mother cried when Amara bought her a house. "Baby, you don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. You showed me how to work. Now I'm showing you how to rest." But Amara didn't rest. She took that $3.2 million and invested in startups run by women and people of color, companies that traditional Silicon Valley investors ignored. By 2005, her investment portfolio was worth $47 million. By 2009, when she was 31 years old, Amara Chen was worth $1.2 billion. Forbes called her the invisible billionaire because she avoided publicity. Bloomberg wrote, "Amara Chen has the Midas touch, but you'd never know it from her wardrobe." She lived in a modest condo in Chicago's South Loop, drove a Honda, wore jeans and simple blouses. The only luxury she allowed herself was a penthouse office downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. And she still wore that faded red thread bracelet on her left wrist every single day. Men noticed Amara. How could they not? Beautiful black woman, brilliant, rich. But the marriage proposals she got always felt wrong. There was David Kim, venture capitalist, who proposed after 3 months. Think about what our portfolios could do together. There was Jonathan Price, hedge fund manager, who sent her a prenup before their 4th date, just protecting both our assets. There was Marcus Chen, no relation, tech CEO, who proposed at a charity gala in front of cameras. Imagine the publicity. Power couple of the year. She said no to all of them because none of them looked at her the way that skinny 10-year-old boy did back in 1987, like she was magic just for being kind. "You're waiting for a fantasy," her best friend Keisha told her over drinks in 2008. "That boy probably doesn't even remember you." "Maybe," Amara said, twisting the bracelet. "But I made a promise, and I keep my promises." Meanwhile, Marcus Webb's life had taken a different path. After his family left Chicago in 1987, they'd bounced between shelters and cheap motels for years. His father was an addict. His mother tried her best. His sister Emma got sick a lot. Marcus remembered the black girl who fed him, remembered her name, Amara, remembered the promise. But mostly, he remembered what she taught him. Rich people work hard. So he worked, harder than anyone. Graduated high school in Boston while working 2 jobs, got into University of Massachusetts on financial aid and scholarships, studied business, graduated with honors. By 2009, at age 32, Marcus was a successful real estate developer in Boston. Not billionaire rich, but millionaire comfortable. He owned a development company worth $83 million, built affordable housing, tried to be rich and good, like Amara had said. He dated, even got engaged once to a lawyer named Sarah, but it didn't work out. She wanted someone who'd give her a big fancy life. Marcus wanted someone who understood where he came from. He never forgot Amara Chen. Sometimes he'd search for her online, but Amara Chen pulled up hundreds of results, and he had no photo. No real information except a 9-year-old's memory of a kind smile. The red thread bracelet she'd given him was long gone, lost in one of their many moves. But the promise remained. In November 2009, Marcus flew to Chicago for a real estate development conference. He hadn't been back to the city since 1987, 22 years. On his last night, he decided to drive past Lincoln Elementary. The school was still there, smaller than he remembered. The fence was gone, replaced by a proper playground. He sat in his rental car, staring at the spot where a black girl once handed him half a sandwich through chain link. "Amara Chen," he said out loud, "where are you?" The next evening, Marcus attended a charity gala. His company had donated to the Second Chances Foundation, which provided housing for homeless families. The foundation was hosting a donor appreciation dinner at the Four Seasons. Marcus went alone, wearing a rented tux, feeling out of place among Chicago's elite. That's when he saw her. She was standing by the bar, talking to an older black woman. She wore a simple black dress, no jewelry except a watch, and something on her left wrist he couldn't quite see. Natural hair in a short afro. Beautiful in an understated way that made every other woman in the room look like they were trying too hard. Something about her felt familiar. Marcus walked over. "Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt." She turned, looked at him with sharp, intelligent eyes. "You're not interrupting. I'm Amara. This is my mother, Linda." Marcus's heart stopped. "Amara?" "Yes?" She smiled politely, like she met strangers every day, which she probably did. "Amara Chen?" Her smile faltered. "Do we know each other?" "Lincoln Elementary, Chicago, 1987. There was a fence. He watched her face change, watched recognition hit like lightning. Her left hand moved to her wrist. She pulled up her sleeve. There it was. Faded, barely pink anymore, but unmistakable. The red thread bracelet. "Marcus," she whispered, "you kept it. I told you I would." They stood there, surrounded by Chicago's wealthiest, both of them crying like the children they used to be. Amara's mother, Linda, recognized the moment for what it was. She quietly excused herself, leaving them alone at the bar. "I looked for you," Marcus said. "For years. I didn't know how to find you. I stayed in Chicago, waiting." "You waited for me?" "I made a promise." Marcus laughed, overwhelmed. "So did I. I promised I'd get rich and marry you." "Well, are you rich?" "I do okay. I run a real estate development company in Boston. We build affordable housing. 83 million in assets." Amara's expression didn't change. "That's amazing, Marcus. You did it. You kept your promise." "What about you? What do you do?" "I invest in tech companies, help startups get funding." "That's incredible. Are you successful?" "I do okay." They talked for 3 hours about everything. His years of homelessness, her mother's sacrifices, his sister Emma, now a social worker in Boston, Amara's journey from Northwestern to Silicon Valley investments. Neither of them mentioned exact numbers. Amara didn't say billionaire, Marcus didn't push. At the end of the night, Marcus said, "I know, this is crazy. We just reconnected after 22 years. But that promise I made when I was 10, I meant it. Can I take you to dinner tomorrow?" Amara hesitated, not because she didn't want to, because she needed to know something first. "Marcus, before we do this, I need to tell you that you're worth $1.2 billion. He smiled. "I Googled you in the bathroom 20 minutes ago. I know who you are. I know what you're worth, and I don't care. I came back to Chicago looking for the girl who shared her sandwich, not the billionaire, her." Amara's eyes filled with tears. "How do I know that's true?" "You don't, but I'll prove it, however long it takes." What Marcus didn't know was that Amara had heard those exact words before, from men in New York, men in San Francisco, even men in Toronto, Canada, men who swore they loved her, not her money, men who failed the test every single time. So Amara made a decision. She'd give Marcus a chance, but she'd test him first. If you're enjoying this story and you want to see how this plays out, make sure you're subscribed to Excellent Power and Passion Stories, because what Amara does next is going to surprise you. And the lesson at the end? Every woman needs to hear it. Amara agreed to dinner, but she didn't show up as herself. Instead, she sent her assistant, Monique, to the restaurant with a message. "Amara got called into an emergency meeting in London. She'll be back in a week. She's sorry." Marcus was disappointed but understanding. "Please tell her I'll wait." The next day, Amara created a fake identity, called herself Maya Brooks, rented a modest apartment in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood, dressed in regular clothes, jeans, sweaters, nothing designer. Then she accidentally ran into Marcus at a coffee shop near his hotel. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Maya Amara bumped into him, spilling his coffee. "No worries, it happens." Marcus smiled. "Let me buy you another one, please." They sat together, talked. Marcus mentioned he was in Chicago for work. "What do you do?" Maya Amara asked. "Real estate development, affordable housing." "That's wonderful. Not many people care about affordable housing. I grew up homeless. I care." Over the next week, Maya Amara and Marcus spent time together. Museums, walks along Lake Michigan, deep conversations. Marcus never mentioned he was waiting for Amara Chen, the billionaire. He was just present, kind, interested in Maya's thoughts on architecture, social justice, music. On their fifth date, Marcus said, "I need to be honest with you. I'm kind of seeing someone. Well, not seeing yet, but I'm waiting for her. She's supposed to be back from London soon." "Oh," Maya Amar's heart fluttered. "Is it serious?" "I don't know. We just reconnected after 22 years. But I made her a promise when we were kids. I'm going to keep it. What if she's not interested? Then at least I'll know I tried. But Maya, you're amazing. If I wasn't waiting for her, I'd ask you out properly. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve honesty. And because even though we just met, I feel like I can trust you." That night, Amara cried in her real penthouse. Not from sadness, from relief. He'd passed the first test. The second test came 3 days later. Maya Amara mentioned she was struggling financially. "My tech startup failed. I'm looking for investors, but nobody will take a meeting." "What's your idea?" Marcus asked. She told him a real pitch, one of the companies in her actual portfolio. "That's brilliant. Have you tried angel investors?" "I can't get in the door. I don't have connections. What if I introduce you to some people? I know a few investors in Boston." "You do that?" "Of course. Good ideas deserve funding." He didn't offer her money, didn't try to swoop in as a savior, just offered connections, respect. Test 2, passed. The final test came on day 10. Maya told Marcus she'd gotten a job offer in Australia, good pay, a chance to rebuild. "When do you leave?" Marcus asked. "Next week. Unless, I don't know. Do you think I should stay?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Maya, I barely know you, but I think you're incredible. If staying means giving up a good opportunity because you're hoping something happens between us, don't. Don't make yourself smaller for anyone. Not even me. But what if I want to stay for me because I like Chicago? Then stay, but make sure it's really for you." Amara realized something in that moment. Marcus Webb wasn't trying to control her, wasn't trying to save her. He was treating her like an equal who could make her own decisions, just like when they were kids. That night, Amara called him. Not Maya, Amara. "Marcus, it's me. I'm back from London. Can we meet?" "Of course. When?" "Now, come to the address I'm about to text you." She sent him her real penthouse address. When Marcus arrived, the doorman directed him to the private elevator. He rode up 43 floors, confused. The elevator opened directly into Amara's penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking all of Chicago. Art on the walls. A Steinway piano in the corner. And standing in the middle of it all was Amara Chen wearing jeans and a sweater. The same outfit Maya had worn that morning. Marcus stared. "What?" "I'm sorry. I needed to know. Maya is you." "Yes." "You tested me." "Yes." "Why?" "Because every man who's proposed to me in the last 10 years wanted my money, my connections, my status. I needed to know if you were different." Marcus stood there, processing. Then he started laughing. "You're not mad?" Amara asked, nervous. "Mad?" "Amara, you're a billionaire. You should test people. I'd be stupid to be mad about you being smart." "So you're not upset I lied?" "You didn't lie. You just didn't tell me the whole truth. There's a difference." He walked closer. "Did I pass?" "With flying colors." "Good. Because I meant what I said when I was 10 years old. I want to marry you, not your money. You." "How do I know?" "Because if I wanted money, I could have asked Maya for an investment in my company. I could have asked you for business connections. I could have done 100 things I didn't do. But all I wanted was to have coffee and talk about architecture." Amara closed the distance between them. "So what now?" "Now you tell me the truth. All of it. And I'll tell you all of mine. And we'll figure out if two people who made promises as kids can build something real as adults." They talked until sunrise. About everything. Amara told him about the men who'd proposed for her money. The loneliness of being rich and not knowing who to trust. The way she built her empire specifically to prove that a black woman from the South Side could outwork everyone. Marcus told her about the years of homelessness, his father's addiction, his mother's eventual death, how Emma almost didn't survive childhood because they couldn't afford health care. That's why I build affordable housing. Every building I create, I think about 10-year-old me and Emma living in that car. I think about your sandwich through the fence. And I try to make sure fewer kids go through what we did. That's exactly what I do with my investments. I fund companies solving problems for people who look like me, who grew up like me. We're the same. We always were. As the sun rose over Chicago, Marcus pulled something from his wallet. A piece of paper, folded and refolded so many times it was nearly falling apart. "What is that?" Amara asked. "Do you remember telling me smart people figure things out?" "Vaguely. I wrote down everything I could remember about you. Your name, the school, the year, what you said. I've been carrying this since 1987. He unfolded it. In a child's handwriting, Amara Chen, Lincoln Elementary, Chicago. Said rich people work hard. Said keep your promises. Amara's vision blurred. "You kept this for 22 years. I told you I keep my promises." Marcus proposed 3 months later. Not at a fancy restaurant, at the fence where they'd met. Except there was no fence anymore, just a playground. "22 years ago, you handed me a sandwich through this fence and changed my life. I promised to marry you. You told me to work hard and be good. I tried to do both. So, Amara Chen, will you marry me?" She said yes, while wearing that faded red thread bracelet. They got married in a small ceremony, just family and close friends. Amara's mother, Linda, walked her down the aisle. Emma, Marcus's sister, was the maid of honor. But here's where the story gets interesting. Most people expected Amara to absorb Marcus's company or for them to keep separate businesses. Instead, they built something new together. ChenWeb Development and Investment, a company focused on affordable housing with tech integration, smart buildings for working-class families, sustainable materials, community spaces. Amara brought capital and tech expertise. Marcus brought real estate knowledge and construction relationships. Within 2 years, ChenWeb had built 17 affordable housing complexes across the United States and Canada, in Chicago, Boston, Toronto, and Vancouver. By 2015, they had expanded internationally: Nairobi, Lagos, Mumbai, cities where Amara's background gave them insight into local needs. The formula was always the same: build quality housing for people priced out of their own cities, integrate technology to reduce costs, hire locally, train residents in tech skills so they could get better jobs. It wasn't just charity. It was sustainable business. By 2018, ChenWeb was worth $4.7 billion. But more importantly, they'd housed over 100,000 families. Forbes interviewed them in 2017. "Mr. Webb, how does it feel to be married to someone richer than you?" Marcus laughed. "I don't think about it that way. We're building something together. Her money, my experience, our vision. That's partnership." "Mrs. ChenWeb, do you ever worry your husband married you for your wealth?" Amara smiled. "My husband proposed to me when he thought I was broke and living in Pilsen. He passed every test. I don't worry about anything except building the life we promised each other when we were 9 and 10 years old." It wasn't all perfect. In 2016, Marcus's father showed up after 30 years. Sober now, apologetic, wanting to reconnect. Marcus was furious. "Where were you when Emma was sick? When Mom died? When we were living in shelters?" Amara said, "You don't owe him forgiveness, but you might owe yourself closure." Marcus eventually had coffee with his father. Once, heard his apology. Didn't maintain a relationship, but let go of the anger. "That was for you, not him," Amara said later. "I know, thank you." In 2017, a Silicon Valley investor tried to buy ChenWeb, offered $7.2 billion. The board recommended they sell. It was an incredible offer. Marcus wanted to take it. We could retire, travel, just be together. Amara hesitated. "Is that what you really want? To stop building?" "I want whatever makes you happy." "That's not an answer. What do you want?" Marcus thought for a long time. "I want to keep building. Every housing complex we create means some kid doesn't have to live in a car." Then we don't sell. You're okay giving up $7 billion? I'm okay not giving up our purpose for money we don't need. They turned down the offer. 6 months later, ChenWeb launched their biggest project yet, a microhousing initiative in San Francisco providing tech training and affordable housing for homeless youth. It was funded by a grant from the Gates Foundation in partnerships with Google and Apple. The kids in that program called it the Amara Initiative because it gave them what Amara gave Marcus 30 years earlier, a sandwich and hope. By 2020, Amara and Marcus had built one of the most successful social impact companies in the world. But if you asked them what they were most proud of, it wasn't the money. It was the promise. If this story moved you, subscribe to Excellent Power and Passion Stories, because we tell stories about women who don't wait to be saved, women who build empires, women who keep their promises. And if you learned something today, share this with someone who needs to hear it. In 2021, Amara gave a commencement speech at Northwestern University. When I was 9 years old, I shared my sandwich with a hungry boy through a fence. I didn't do it because I wanted something back. I did it because he needed food and I had food. That boy promised to marry me when he got rich. I promised to wait for him. People say childhood promises don't matter, that kids don't understand the world. But here's what I learned. Promises reveal character. That 10-year-old boy who promised to work hard and be good, he kept that promise. And the 9-year-old girl who promised to wait for someone who saw her for who she really was, she kept that promise too. So here's my advice to you. Make promises carefully, but when you make them, keep them. Your word is the only thing nobody can buy, steal, or replicate. Protect it. Work hard, not for wealth, for purpose. My husband and I are billionaires, but we still work 60-hour weeks. Why? Because the work matters more than the money. Find work that matters to you. Then work like your life depends on it, because someone else's life might. Test people, especially when you have something they want. I tested my husband by pretending to be broke. He passed because he valued me, not my money. Don't apologize for protecting yourself. Smart people understand why you need to. Never shrink yourself for anyone. I had men tell me I was too rich, too ambitious, too smart. My husband told me to take the job in Australia even though it meant we'd be apart, because he understood that love isn't about making someone smaller, it's about celebrating them at full size. Build with people, not for people. My husband and I didn't merge companies. We built something new together. Equal partners, equal vision. That's the only way partnerships last. Remember where you came from. We live in a penthouse, but we spend our time building housing for people who live in cars, because we were those people once. Never forget your origin story. It's your superpower. And finally, kindness is never wasted. I gave a sandwich to a stranger. He remembered for 22 years. You never know how one act of kindness will change someone's entire life. So be kind. Work hard, keep your promises, and build something that matters more than money. Thank you. Today, Amara and Marcus have 3 children. They live in Chicago, not far from Lincoln Elementary. Every year on the anniversary of the day they met, they go to that playground where the fence used to be. They bring sandwiches, find a kid who looks hungry, share their food. And they tell that child the same thing Amara told Marcus 34 years ago. Rich people work hard. Good people keep their promises. And if you do both, you can change the world. Amara still wears the red thread bracelet. It's barely visible now, worn to almost nothing. But she had it professionally preserved in resin, framed, hanging in their office. Under it, a plaque reads, "The promise that built an empire." Here's my question for you. What promise did you make to yourself that you haven't kept yet? And what's stopping you from starting today? Drop your answer in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because the best time to keep a promise was yesterday. The second best time is right now. This is Excellent Power and Passion Stories. Subscribe if you believe strong women build empires, not excuses. We'll see you in the next one.